Sarah over in Reading. Now, she wrote this because they were scheduled to. So I want to, first of all, say thank you, Sarah. The U.S. state of Texas is scheduled to execute a mentally ill man who was diagnosed with schizophrenia. I thought it was against international law to execute the mentally ill. Now, I need to also add that late yesterday afternoon, a federal judge issued a stay of execution pending further analysis. But this was a death warrant signed by the Texas governor, Rick Perry. Absolutely abhorrent that he could actually do this. This man has been, proven schizophrenic on many occasions, but every level along the way, it has been completely ignored. What do you guys think about this?
Well, it's an appalling situation. I'll wear my heart on my sleeve here. I'm against execution, full stop. But to kill a mentally ill man is particularly, as you say, abhorrent. Yeah. Darry, where do you come from on this?
Well, I'm totally against the death penalty. I'm absolutely right, but it seems to me it's just part of the economic situation in which the prison system, is finds itself in America. Where the for profit, the kind of profit-driven institution of incarceration means that the more people are in prison, the more money gets made, which is kind of incredible, really.
Well, this was such an interesting case because this guy did kill his in-laws, his wife's parents, and yet he's hearing voices and very clearly not there. And when I looked at the rush to judgment, we've got Rick Perry getting ready to run for the presidency in the United States for 2016. So he has to show he's just as tough as George W. Bush was.
I find that really repugnant. You're absolutely right. I find that really repugnant. You're talking about a man's life here, and you've got to show how tough he is.
Yeah. But the thing that absolutely blows my mind is it would seem to me to be much more justice to the family to lock this guy up in a supermax prison 23 hours a day for the rest of his natural life. That feels a far more significant punishment than to just push a syringe and the guy's gone.
Yeah.
Temporarily you're going to feel as though you got justice, but I don't know. I love the solution by, what was it, Josh in the West Wing, when Charlie's talking about Charlie's mother's killer. Charlie's mother was a cop and she was shot down. And he said, I think what should happen is that every member of the family should get a chance to line up and give the guy a punch once a night before he goes to bed to remind him of what he did.
The thing is, I have done quite a number of miscarriage of justice cases where we have shown that the kids who were in jail did not murder the person. They were, in one case particularly, they were teenagers, they were children, And, if we had execution in this country, they would be dead. There's no going back from that. They would be murdered wrongly for a crime they did not commit.
Exactly.
It's an appalling situation. That is an appalling situation, and it speaks to a terrible thing that somebody who may be innocent is then killed.
Crazy. Well, let's move on to the next one. Helen in Iowa. Thank you, Helen, for writing to us. She says, I see there are 5 months until the UK general election. Will you folks be force-fed horrifically bad advertising 24/7 on television like we were here?
Yeah.
I think Sarah answered that one, didn't she?
Well, thankfully not. There are strict rules on party political broadcasts. People in America won't believe this, but the rule on the general election broadcasts is that each major party is allowed 2 broadcasts in the weeks leading up to the general election, and there's huge restrictions on campaign financing. So the UK elections don't have the razzmatazz of the US, but it's we're thankful for that. They last about 6 weeks, and they're much more low key. And we don't have this 24-hour, 24/7 television advertisements like you do in America.
And what I absolutely love is watching these MPs out on the hustings. Before the local MP became the actual MP in 2010, I did a couple of pieces for the Huffington Post, Mr. Cairns Goes to Westminster, in which I explained the UK election process. So I was out with him on the hustings and watching teams of people go door to door to door to door. And when they'd get a hit, oh yes, the candidate's right here. And they'd pull him up from 4 houses down and he'd stand there in front and have a chat and a conversation. Real grassroots, it was really funny to watch.
I think I'm right in saying as well that this will be you can correct me on this, Darren, but I mean, I think I'm right in saying this will be the first fixed-term general election, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had
Yeah,
no
that's right.
we've had no lack of
Yeah,
confidence votes or anything else like that. So, yeah, I mean, and I think they've taken away the ability to do snap elections, haven't they?
well, it's fixed term now, is it? As far as I'm aware, I'll have to look this up for certain, but I'm sure that now the parliaments are fixed term like they are in America, so they can't. It doesn't give the advantage to the incumbents to be able to call the snap election as you're saying. But I will have to look that up for sure.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Three Muckrakers. I'm Dennis Campbell. Sometimes the news is very heavy, and our hearts do go out to the widow of Eric Garner and his family. And sometimes Fox News and the right-wing noise chamber just need to shut the hell up and stop talking. And when the news came down and the news actress on the set, all she could worry about was the lighting of a damned Christmas tree. Their lack of humanity hit just a stunning new low, and I believe that there is a special place in hell reserved for Roger Ailes, the Fox News puppeteer, Rush Limbaugh, and the other purveyors of hate there on 6th Avenue in New York. It's been our pleasure to guide you on this journey into the world of politics, and you can follow us on Facebook.com/The Three Muckrakers, and on Twitter, Dr. Dario Linares is at Dario LL, Phil Parry is at Wales Eye, and me, Dennis Campbell, I'm at UK Progressive. And if you want to reach us by phone in the US, you can call 1-202-697-9977, and in the UK and Europe, country code 4420-8144-8054, and email us at ukprogressive@gmail.com. Send us your messages and phone messages. We may play them and answer them here on the air. We're back again live next week with our really good friend Ahmed Tharwat. He's an Egyptian national who lives in Minneapolis and builds bridges of understanding between the American and Muslim worlds. Wonderful man, fighting an incredibly uphill battle. We're going to talk about Egypt under General Sisi, the release of Hosni Mubarak, and the general state of the Middle East. And in 2 weeks, the political commentator Darren Hill joins us in our pre-Christmas look back at what the Welsh government hath wrought over the course of 2014 and what lays ahead for 2015 in the general election. Wherever news goes, the Three Muckrakers are close behind. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and goodbye. The Three Muckrakers podcast is produced by Monk Dash Media in association with Thing 1 and Thing 2 Productions. Copyright 2014, all rights reserved.